Good evening. Thank you for joining me for tonight's sleep story. If you're new here, my name is Julie. Welcome to my dark academia world. Drusilla Gobblestone was born under a dark sign. That was why, at age 11, she presented herself to Mrs. Morse's school for wayward girls and other exotic creatures. The school was located on the outskirts of Blessings Hollow on the coast of Maine. She had not moved far, having attended the nearby Trixie's Tri-State Orphan Hostelry on the other end of town. The first few steps into the cloakroom were not promising. The place smelled musty, like old socks. It lacked the cheer of the primary colors of Trixie's. By contrast, Mrs. Morse's school was 1,000 shades of brown. Brown doors, brown floors, brown ceilings, and brown furniture. The only things that weren't brown were the stone walls and the brown things that had long since turned gray. There was nobody to greet her as she examined the row of dark cloaks hanging from hooks. Drusilla deposited her hat, then swallowed hard before opening the door to the main body of the school. The room was lit with a bizarre combination of gas lamps and torches that threw dueling shadows. It revealed a grand hall that rose several stories. At the far end, a giant clock made of dozens of glistening gears chugged and whirled away. At the top of the clock, which must have been 30 feet tall, sat a giant bronze bell that tolled the hour, 8 o'clock. At least you're on time. But I don't understand why they're allowing a new girl to start 2 weeks into the school year, a tall, bespectacled girl said from across the hall. She approached with determined strides and wore a fading purple dress robe over a brown pinafore. Her name tag read, Margaret Finn. In her hand she held a notebook and she made big checks with a pen as Drusilla answered her questions. Name, Drusilla Gobblestone, big check. State of birth, Maine. Margaret narrowed her eyes behind lenses so thick they magnified her pupils threefold. She wore a fierce expression reminiscent of other girls Drusilla knew at the orphanage. Serious girls who pulled their hair back from their faces in tight buns that tugged at their skin. Margaret, however, did not have her hair in a bun. Instead, she had 2 floppy ponytails tied with loopy bits of red yarn. The ponytails made her appear garish and clownish, like someone desperately trying to look half their age. By the size of her, she had to be at least 18. Mother's name? Unknown. Margaret stopped making checks in her notebook. How can you be admitted if we don't know who your family is? Drusilla produced Mrs. Morse's invitation from her pocket. It was a fine brown affair with brown engravings on a lighter brown background. It was printed on paper so stiff it could serve as a backstop for a hockey puck. The invitation was addressed to Drusilla Gobblestone, care of Madame Beatrix's Tri-State Orphan Hostelry. Right, well, irregular. Irregular to have a new girl start today, and irregular to have a girl without a family. Family is how everyone gets into our school. Margaret leaned forward. I'll be the first to tell you that orphans don't belong here. But Let's continue. I suppose you don't have a name for your father either. Gustave Gobblestone, replied Drusilla. Wait, you don't know your mother, but you know your father? Asked Margaret. I most certainly do. He died under mysterious circumstances on the 7th day of the 12th month of the year I was born, or so I've been told, replied Drusilla. Margaret looked shocked, but soon recovered and made a sweeping check on her paper. Then she stuck out a bony finger and poked Drusilla below the rib cage. You're short and decidedly unfit. You'll have a year to get ready for the cataloging course, and you'll need to be in tip-top shape for that. For now, I'll mark flabby, shall I? Once more, Margaret made a check. Definitely not flabby, Drusilla said with indignation. That's all the questions I have. Margaret snapped her notebook shut. You must go to Nurse Mooney, who will delouse you. We can't have orphans with lice invading our school. No, don't protest. Just close your mouth and follow me. Drusilla followed the girl down a dark corridor to the nurse's office. With each step, she thought over the life events that led her to the front door of Mrs. Morris's.